but this is a very dishonest man. This is a man that's been overturned already on this case 4 times. But a crooked New York State judge just ruled that I have to pay a fine of $355 million for having built a perfect company. Great cash, great buildings, great everything. It affects New York. It's mostly talking about New York.
A group of truck drivers who support former President Donald Trump have declared a boycott against making deliveries to New York City, following a civil fraud ruling that fined Trump $355 million last week. The Manhattan Supreme Court has issued a groundbreaking ruling in a high-profile fraud case, ordering a company to pay a staggering $350 million in restitution. Now, New York City is at risk of famine as truckers refuse to deliver food and produce. How dire will the situation of things get? Chicago Ray's viral video.
York, you will see all the emptiness tonight in the truck stop. Trucker strike tomorrow in New York. Good luck.
New York. With Trump. With Trump. Now the truckers ain't trying to deliver y'all produce, y'all goods.
The fraud case, which has been making headlines for months, involved a company accused of engaging in deceptive practices and defrauding investors out of millions of dollars. The court's decision to hold the company accountable for its actions has been hailed as a victory for justice, but it has also sparked controversy and outrage among truckers. In a shocking turn of events, Truckers for Trump, a group of dedicated truck drivers who support President Donald Trump, have taken a bold stand against the recent $350 million fraud ruling in New York City. These truckers, known for their unwavering loyalty to the president, are refusing to make deliveries to the city as a form of protest. Truckers, the backbone of America's transportation industry, have long been known for their dedication and hard work. Day in and day out, they traverse the highways, delivering goods to cities and towns across the country. But now, they find themselves at the center of a political storm as they take a stand against what they perceive as an unjust judgment.
One man is now telling truck drivers not to come to New York City after former President Trump was hit with that massive multi-million-dollar fine.
Chicago Ray, a prominent social media influencer and trucker, has been at the forefront of this protest. In a video clip that has since gone viral, Ray passionately expressed his support for his fellow truckers and their decision to refuse deliveries to New York City. Ray's video has already gained significant traction, with millions of views and thousands of likes.
I've been on the radio talking to drivers for about the last hour 15 minutes. And I'm talking to at least 10 drivers going the other way. I'm heading down from South Wisconsin. And they're going to start refusing loads in New York City.
That's right, viewers. Chicago Ray has been in direct contact with numerous truckers who have made the bold decision to boycott New York City.
I don't know how far across the country this is, or how many truckers are going to start denying loads to going to New York City.
The determination and conviction in Ray's voice are palpable. He firmly believes that their collective action will send a strong message to those in power. But what led these truckers to take such a drastic step? Let's explore their motivations. He said, "We're tired of you leftists messing with Trump. Our bosses won't care if we deny the loads. We'll just go somewhere else, all right? Do you know how hard it is to get into New York City with one of these man? That. We're tired of dealing with the hassle, the congestion, and the overall headache of delivering goods to the city." Ray sheds light on the challenges truckers face when delivering goods to New York City. The congested streets, the tight spaces, and the overall difficulty of navigating the city can be overwhelming. It's no wonder these truckers have reached their breaking point. Clad in a Trump-branded cap, Chicago Ray's words resonated with many truckers who feel that their support for the former president is being undermined. The ruling, in their eyes, is not just about financial liability, but also about what they perceive as interference in the democratic process. Ray's claim of overwhelming support from fellow truckers has sparked a wave of solidarity online. Social media platforms have been flooded with messages of encouragement and promises of support. The truckers' decision to refuse deliveries to New York City has struck a chord with many who feel a deep connection to the former president. He claims that this is their way of standing up against what they perceive as an unjust ruling. The trucking community's united front against the civil fraud ruling is unprecedented. Their refusal refusal to drive to New York City is a powerful statement, demonstrating their unwavering support for the former president and their determination to make their voices heard. The implications of this protest are far-reaching. New York City, a bustling metropolis heavily reliant on the trucking industry for the transportation of goods, may face significant disruptions in the supply chain. With truckers refusing to make deliveries, businesses and consumers alike may experience delays and shortages of essential goods. The decision by Truckers for Trump to boycott New York City has sparked a heated debate among industry experts, legal scholars, and the general public. Some argue that the protest is a powerful demonstration of solidarity and a necessary step to bring attention to the perceived injustice. Others, however, worry about the potential consequences of disrupting the flow of goods into one of the nation's largest cities. Consequences for NYC. Currently, the internet is buzzing with outrage as Trump-supporting truckers face backlash for their refusal to drive to New York City. Users from all walks of life weighed in on the matter, expressing their opinions and emotions. Social media platforms are flooded with comments from both sides, with emotions running high. Hashtags like #StandWithTrumpTruckers and #BoycottTrumpTruckers have emerged, further fueling the controversy. One user on social media wrote, "MAGA truckers are outnumbered by truckers that don't worship Trump and just want to earn their paycheck and get back to their families." This sentiment was echoed by many who believe that personal beliefs should not interfere with professional obligations.
We're not going to see truck drivers give up the opportunity to make money simply because of some political stance that they want to take.
The truckers' refusal to drive to NYC sparked a broader conversation about the intersection of politics and work. It raised questions about the extent to which personal beliefs should influence professional decisions. Should individuals be allowed to prioritize their political convictions over their job responsibilities, or should they be expected to separate the two?
Donald Trump does so well with blue-collar workers. Those truckers that are saying, hey, we're not going to deliver in New York City, that's the heart and soul of the Trump movement. And Democrats can't stand it. They don't understand it. They don't like it. But they try to fight back with these stupid op-eds.
But what makes this boycott so significant? Well, it all comes down to the critical role that truckers play in the supply chain. They are the backbone of our economy, ensuring that goods are delivered to our doorsteps, hospitals, and businesses. But what happens when they decide to withhold their services? To truly understand the magnitude of this boycott, we need to grasp the power that truckers hold.
Well, certainly if truck drivers were to boycott New York City, the impact has the potential to be very damaging and very quickly.
To truly understand the magnitude of this boycott, we need to grasp the power that truckers hold. They are not just drivers, they are independent contractors who operate within a bid system. Companies like Tyson Foods put out bids for the delivery of their products, and truckers have the freedom to accept or reject these jobs. This system allows for flexibility and efficiency in the logistics industry. However, it also means that truckers have the power to disrupt the entire supply chain with a single decision. Picture this. Within just 24 hours of the boycott, the city could be plunged into chaos. Medical supplies, the lifeline of our hospitals, may cease to be delivered. Imagine the impact on patients, doctors, and nurses who rely on these supplies to save lives. And it doesn't stop there. Fuel shortages would emerge, leading to long lines at gas stations and transportation issues. The city that never sleeps could come to a grinding halt. As news of the boycott spreads, panic buying would ensue. Shelves in grocery stores would be stripped bare as people rushed to stock up on essentials. The once bustling streets of New York City would be filled with anxiety and uncertainty. Food shortages would begin to develop, leaving many without access to the nourishment they need. The consequences of this boycott would be felt by every resident, from the wealthiest to the most vulnerable. But the ripple effects wouldn't stop there. Service stations would run out of fuel, impacting not only individual drivers but also public transportation and emergency services. Manufacturing would face component shortages, halting production lines, and causing a ripple effect throughout the economy. Within a week, travel could come to a standstill due to the unavailability of fuel. Imagine the impact on commuters, tourists, and businesses that rely on a functioning transportation system. The consequences of this boycott would extend far beyond inconvenience and economic disruptions. Hospitals, the backbone of our healthcare system, may begin to exhaust their oxygen supplies. Lives would be at risk as doctors struggle to provide life-saving treatments. And within a month, the nation could face a severe shortage of clean water. Truckers are not just responsible for delivering goods, they also transport water to various regions. Without their services, access to clean water would become a luxury.
It could shut New York City down. And, you know, I don't want to hurt the people of New York. That's not what I'm trying to do. But my part in it, if New York just loses 10% just 10% of the trucks that go in there, their prices are going to skyrocket.
These scenarios underscore the essential nature of trucking to the well-being and economy of our nation. Truckers are the unsung heroes who ensure that our lives continue to function smoothly. They are the ones who bring us the food we eat, the fuel we rely on, and the medical supplies that save lives. Their planned boycott is not just an economic move, it's a political statement. Truckers have expressed their dissatisfaction with certain political decisions and ideologies, aligning their protest with broader political sentiments. As the planned boycott looms, New York City and its residents must brace themselves for the potential impact on the supply of food, provisions, and other essential goods. The impact of this boycott on New York City cannot be underestimated. With truckers refusing to make deliveries, the city's supply chain is at risk of disruption. The interconnectedness of various industries and sectors becomes evident when we consider the ripple effects that a disruption in the supply chain can have. It's a stark reminder of the power that blue-collar workers possess in the modern economy, and their ability to influence not only economic outcomes, but also political decisions. Businesses are already feeling the pinch, and the city's economy is on the brink of turmoil. Trump's New York civil fraud case. In case you are wondering what this whole fraud trial and truckers debacle is, let's explore the key moments that unfolded during this high-stakes legal battle. Over 44 days, the courtroom witnessed a spectacle that resembled a mix between a campaign rally and a reality TV show. From bombshell rulings to heated exchanges, this trial had it all. Our story begins with a bombshell ruling that sets the stage for the trial. Just days before the trial started, Judge Engoron dropped a legal bombshell that sent shockwaves through the courtroom and beyond. The judge revealed that millions of pages of financial statements and communications provided documented evidence of Trump's fraudulent activities. This pre-trial judgment was a significant victory for the Attorney General's office and a major blow to Trump's defense team. In his ruling, Judge Engoron ordered a severe punishment, revoking Trump's business and real estate licenses, essentially barring him from conducting any business in New York. This ruling was a significant victory for the Attorney General's office, making it an uphill battle for Trump's legal team from the start. Trump, however, was not one to back down easily. He immediately appealed the ruling, setting the stage for a legal battle that would unfold alongside the trial itself. The pretrial judgment dealt a significant blow to Trump's defense team, as many of the arguments they planned to use during the trial had already been struck down by Judge Engoron. One such argument was the so-called worthless clause, which Trump's lawyers believed could undermine the validity of the government documents. However, Engoron had already dismissed this argument in his pretrial ruling, deeming it worthless in itself. Undeterred, Trump took the witness stand during the trial and attempted to argue that the disclaimer clauses on the government documents rendered the valuations worthless. He even had a note about the disclaimer clause in his pocket, ready to present his case. But Judge Engoron was quick to shut down Trump's argument, reminding him that the worthless clause had already been addressed in the pretrial judgment. The judge's firm stance left Trump's defense team with an uphill battle, as the core of the case had already been decided before the trial even began. With the core of the case already decided, the trial focused on determining the fine that Trump would have to pay. The stakes were high, and the courtroom was filled with tension as both sides presented their arguments. The trial became a battle of legal minds, with Trump's defense team desperately trying to minimize the financial consequences for their client. Throughout the trial, the courtroom was filled with tension and anticipation. 40 witnesses took the stand over 44 days, each adding their piece to the puzzle. The atmosphere resembled a mix between a courtroom drama and a reality TV show, with all eyes on Judge Engoron as he meticulously examined the evidence presented. The Attorney General's office, armed with the documented evidence of fraud, sought a substantial fine that would hold Trump accountable for his actions. On the other hand, Trump's legal team fought tooth and nail to minimize the financial consequences he would face. As the trial progressed, it became clear that Judge Engoron was not only presiding over a legal battle, but also managing a highly charged and contentious environment. Trump's antagonistic behavior towards the judge and his staff further escalated tensions in the courtroom. Trump took to social media to call Judge Engoron deranged, setting a confrontational tone from the start. This antagonism would have consequences as the trial unfolded. In response to Trump's behavior, Judge Engoron issued a gag order, barring Trump from speaking out publicly about members of his staff. However, Trump continued to push the boundaries. During the testimony of his former lawyer and fixer, Michael Cohen, Trump held a press conference outside the courtroom and made derogatory remarks about Engoron's principal law clerk, referring to her as Schumer's girlfriend. This blatant violation of the gag order did not go unnoticed by the judge, but Trump's disregard for the gag order became evident as the trial progressed. During the testimony of Michael Cohen, his former lawyer and fixer, Trump held a press conference outside the courtroom. In front of a cluster of reporters, he made inflammatory remarks about the judge and the perceived partisanship of the trial. Engoron addressed Trump's comments in the courtroom, expressing his concern for the safety of his staff. He believed that Trump's remarks could incite violence and issued a stern warning, stating that he was considering serious punishment for violating the gag order. Engoron allowed Trump to briefly testify that he was referring to Cohen when he made the statement, but ultimately, the judge did not believe Trump's explanation. As a result, Trump was fined $10,000 for his comment. Engoron emphasized the importance of maintaining a safe and respectful environment in the courtroom, stating, "I am very protective of my staff, as I should be. We all know that we are in an overheated environment. I don't want anyone to be killed." The tension between Trump and Judge Engoron continued to escalate throughout the trial, with the judge reprimanding Trump's lawyers for their client's unruly behavior. Engoron even threatened to take control himself if Trump's behavior persisted. The courtroom became a battleground of egos, with Trump's fiery rants and Engoron's firm hand shaping the narrative of the trial. As the trial reached its climax, it became clear that Trump's focus was not solely on defending himself against the allegations of fraud. He seemed more concerned with the cameras waiting outside the courtroom, eager to broadcast his face and words to his followers across the country. This preoccupation with public perception and his ongoing feud with Judge Engoron would have a lasting impact on the trial's outcome. One of the most anticipated moments of the Trump Organization civil fraud trial came when Michael Cohen, Trump's former lawyer and fixer, took the witness stand. As Cohen strolled into the courtroom wearing jeans, all eyes were on him, including those of his former boss, Donald Trump. Flanked by his lawyers, Trump scowled at Cohen, creating an atmosphere charged with tension and anticipation. Cohen himself referred to it as a heck of a reunion during a break from his testimony. This was the first time Cohen and Trump had come face to face since their parting ways in 2017. Cohen's testimony would prove crucial in determining the credibility of the evidence against Trump. However, his previous conviction for lying to Congress cast doubt on his reliability as a witness, a fact that Trump's lawyers were quick to exploit. Throughout his time on the stand, Cohen faced intense scrutiny regarding his credibility. His 3-year prison sentence, in part for the schemes he conducted under Trump, raised questions about his motives and truthfulness. Trump's legal team argued that Cohen's history of lying made him an unreliable witness, attempting to undermine the weight of his testimony. However, as the trial progressed, Judge Engoron made it clear that he did not see Cohen as a key witness. Engoron believed that there was enough evidence in the case to fill the entire courtroom, suggesting that Cohen's testimony, while significant, was not the sole determining factor. The Trump Organization civil fraud trial turned into a family affair as Donald Trump's adult children took the witness stand. Donald Trump Jr., Eric Trump, and Ivanka Trump, all executives of the Trump Organization, faced intense questioning from prosecutors regarding the financial statements at the center of the case. Their testimonies provided a unique insight into the inner workings of the Trump Organization and the role they played in its operations. Donald Trump Jr., the eldest son and the first to testify, emphasized a recurring theme that would echo throughout the testimonies of his siblings. When it came to the financial statements, he claimed to leave that to my accountants, specifically referring to the outside accounting firm hired by the company. Eric Trump, on the other hand, faced more intense scrutiny regarding his involvement in the Seven Springs property in Westchester County, New York. Documents suggested that Eric had been involved in the valuations of the property, which the Trump family had purchased in the 1990s with hopes of developing a golf course or luxury homes. Despite residents blocking the development plans, the Trump Organization continued to list the valuation of the property as if it were still viable for construction. When questioned about discrepancies in the financial statements, Eric claimed to have no recollection of providing information for those statements. He emphasized that his focus was on construction rather than appraisals. Throughout their testimonies, the Trump siblings frequently resorted to the phrase, "I don't recall," when faced with specific questions about the financial statements. This lack of clarity raised doubts about their level of involvement and their knowledge of the valuations presented in the documents. The siblings' testimonies shed light on the inner workings of the Trump Organization and the division of responsibilities within the family. While they held executive positions, they seemed to distance themselves from the financial intricacies, instead relying on outside professionals to handle those matters. Their testimonies also highlighted the complexities of the case, with prosecutors attempting to establish accountability within the Trump Organization. The financial statements served as a central piece of evidence, and the siblings' testimonies were crucial in determining the extent of their involvement and the level of responsibility they held. The Trump Organization civil fraud trial reached its climax when former President Donald Trump himself took the witness stand. Trump's testimony was highly anticipated, as it would provide a rare opportunity to hear directly from the man at the center of the case. However, his time on the stand proved to be a roller coaster of emotions and erratic behavior. From the moment Trump took the stand, it was clear that he was prone to angry rants and outbursts directed at Judge Arthur Engoron and New York Attorney General Letitia James. These outbursts delighted his followers, but likely hurt his credibility in the courtroom. Trump's frustration with the proceedings was evident as he repeatedly referred to Judge Engoron as a hostile judge. He accused the court of perpetrating fraud, claiming that the fraud is on behalf of the court. These inflammatory remarks tested the patience of Engoron, who jumped in multiple times to reprimand Trump's lawyers for their client's unruliness. Engoron, exasperated by Trump's behavior, beseeched the lawyers to control their client, warning that he would take action if necessary. The judge's commitment to maintaining order and respect in the courtroom was unwavering, even in the face of Trump's defiance. Even during the tamer moments of Trump's testimony, he spoke incoherently and wistfully about his properties. When discussing one of his Scottish golf clubs, he made a vague statement saying, "At some point, at a very old age, I'll do the most beautiful thing you'll ever see," providing no specifics or context. Trump's testimony confirmed what had become clear throughout the trial. He seemed to care more about the cameras waiting outside the courtroom, ready to broadcast his face and words to his followers across the country. This focus on public perception overshadowed the gravity of the trial and the seriousness of the allegations against him. Engoron found that the defendants' fraudulent activities saved them a staggering $168 million in interest. As a result, Trump and his companies have been fined this exact amount, but that's not all. Engoron also ruled that Trump and his companies are liable for $126 million in ill-gotten profits from the sale of the old post office in Washington, D.C. And if that wasn't enough, they are also on the hook for $60 million in profits from the sale of Ferry Point in the Bronx. These mind-boggling figures shed light on the extent of Trump's fraudulent practices and the immense financial impact they have had. While he did not issue the so-called corporate death penalty, Engoron banned Trump from serving as an officer or director of a New York corporation for 3 years. This decision deals a significant blow to Trump's business empire as it limits his ability to hold positions of power within his organization. However, the judge did not dissolve the Trump Organization altogether. Instead, an independent monitor, installed last fall, will remain in place for at least 3 years, and an independent director of compliance should be appointed at the Trump Org, with the company bearing the expenses. Engoron's order includes a 2-year ban on Trump's adult sons, who have essentially run the Trump Organization since 2017, from serving as executives in New York. And that brings us to the end of this video. If you want to see more content like this, click on one of the cards on your screen.